It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hi, super excited to be on with you today to have a chat with my amazing cousin, Ashley, who's about to do something completely crazy, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I'm Coach Crazy Cat. I'm starting this new discussion forum. It's Journey Through Stuck, and I'm going to be interviewing a lot of women on various places that we get stuck and how we work through that, because stuck when you're there can feel pretty heavy and oppressive. And Ashley and I both rely on God and go to the Bible a lot to help us work through things. But if you don't know God, I can't say enough positive things, but there are places when you get stuck. And I just encourage you, if you are stuck for any reason, just reach out and ask your friends for prayer, ask me for prayer, ask for help. Don't stay stuck or feel like that you're alone, because that's no fun. And so anyway, so Ashley is doing something really exciting, and I'm blown away, because this would cause me to freeze in fear. She's moving 740 miles away from our home state of South Carolina, and she just never travels. Like, she was always the homebody. She stayed at home. I lived in 8 states, but Ashley stayed home. And now you're moving 740 miles away. Like, how does that feel?
It to hear you say it sounds pretty strange knowing how I am, but it feels amazing. I'm ready.
And you're moving to Uganda, which is
Yes.
a country that has been in your heart, and this is your 5th time going. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about Uganda, how Uganda found its way into your heart.
My first trip was a mission trip to Uganda in 2016. And at that time I was just a volunteer in the healthcare field with a particular organization. And, on my heart to go to Uganda and learn more. Mainly I wanted to learn how to better facilitate my role as a volunteer. And so that first trip to Uganda was a 2.5-week trip, and that was, I guess I kind of call it the beginning of the rest of my life, because it really, it changed me. It opened my eyes, my heart, and my soul in so many ways. And since then, I return to Uganda every year, and I've been so blessed to go down this path God put me on to start a nonprofit organization.
It's beautiful. And I have pictures of Ashley with the kids that we help up on the board, and it's amazing to be able to touch actual people and hear their stories. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that you're going on this task so I can find ways to help you.
Yes.
So this is a big change, especially for a country girl who grew up in 6 Mile, South Carolina, which most of the listeners probably have never even heard of. Tiny little town. Churches and a stoplight, maybe.
Yes.
So what has been the biggest challenge to you going and living the stream that Father God has given you?
Honestly, there have been many. I have 2 daughters. So soon after 2016, probably within 2 years, I started feeling that I would probably go and live in Uganda one day. But I felt that it was pretty far off, far reaching. I knew that it would be in God's timing. So I know, looking back, God started preparing my heart several years ago for this. But my girls were not yet, grown, and I wanted for them to be, independent before I would leave. And now the time has reached that they've both become independent and living on their own. And so um, God really put all the wheels into motion to make this work, and the timing is right. But so back to your original question, things I had to overcome and obstacles. That was originally one, and in a way it still is. Leaving my girls behind. Um, yeah, that's the hardest. But other than that, it's willingness to take on huge adjustments to the modern amenities that I have here, because I'll be moving to a hut in a northern village in Uganda with no electricity or running water. And I tell other people about that and they're like, how will you do it? And I don't know. But I know God has made my heart ready. I just no longer have a desire for the recliner, the couch, the comfy things. I know my future is elsewhere. But I guess early on that would have been an obstacle to how will I learn to live without all these things? And then also, I've had a long career in the healthcare field, and it's been hard, it's been challenging, especially since the COVID pandemic. It really became very hard, the hardest ever. But I'm thankful for all of it. The stress, the long hours. I'm really thankful for all of it because it all equipped me for the work I'm going to be doing in Uganda. But to break away from a career for so long, and you worked hard for it, and you feel somewhat proud for doing that hard work, and to make that decision to actually to leave your career, and that's hard. It's hard. And it probably was a 1-year journey for me to finally make that decision. Yeah, and I kept, I knew it was coming. I didn't know it was going to be this within the last 12 months. I didn't know it would be within that 12-month period of time. But when I look back now, I realize how beautifully God laid things out for me, because the COVID pandemic hit. My daughter flew home from New York to stay with me. My other daughter was home. So we had this unusual, unplanned, unpredicted, overwhelming amount of time that we were able to spend together this year that, it just would not have happened without this pandemic. And so I got to spend, they're grown, but I got to spend all this extra time with them, and that was great. And as the months rolled on past summer, it's just something started changing in my heart, and I just really realized that it was time. It was time to resign and get my house ready and move along. So I really had to let go of my my human thoughts, my fright, my what ifs, and just trusting God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. So how do you, I guess, are there any tips that you've done to kind of do, step out? Because a lot of people, they want to do something new, or they feel like God's prompting them to, but they feel stuck and they question themselves, and then they stay frozen. And taking that first step, right? That's the hard part. But when we take that first step, he'll do like 90% of the work, and he lines it up. So how do you, or what advice do you give somebody who's like sitting there and they're like, oh, I'm so scared to take that first step? How do you get started?
Wow, that's a good question. And it's, yeah, that's hard. Yeah, the first step is the hardest, obviously. And after that, it gets better. But, I really think, so much of my decision-making process is religious in nature. It's my relationship with God. So I believe that God reaches each person who has a willing heart, on an individual level. I don't think the experience is the same for everybody. So, I believe if you pray, you step out in faith, he meets you in the middle. At least that's what he did for me. So once I said, Lord, I'm ready to be your willing servant and do whatever. And I started making the steps to move towards Uganda. He really met me in the middle. And as time progressed, step 2, step 3, he really put a peace upon my heart. So, it's an experience may be different from other people, but this is how it's worked for me, and I'm thankful and I'm blessed.
Oh, that's beautiful. I feel the same when you take that first step, and for whatever reason, it's that first step where the enemy just wants to block us and stop us and think about the
Correct.
what ifs. This is going to go wrong, but when you take that first step, God's like, "I got you. I'm here.
Yep.
He'll take us through everything."
Yeah, you're talking about that, and you know that I recently put my house on the market, which is kind of the final step in moving to Uganda, and is also dependent upon me moving to Uganda, because the sale of that home will pay my debt and I'll move. But I was fixing the home up, doing this, doing that, and I was really struggling to make that final step to put it on the market, because then it's it becomes more final than I am moving, and it's that much closer. It was really hard, and I thought, my realtor had told me, you can expect 45 days or longer. The market's kind of slow in here, and and a lot of other thoughts were starting to enter my mind, and I was starting to rely on my own judgment and understanding a bit. So it was a Monday night, my home went on the market, and Tuesday morning, I was just like, this worry was really starting to build up on me. What if this? What if that? What if I didn't fix the house nice enough? And I just kind of talked out loud, I believe God can hear us anywhere, anytime. So I just kind of talked out loud and said, Lord, you're in control. This is the mission you put me on. It'll be, your path, your timing. If now's not the time for my house to sell, I'll know. But I'm leaving the worry behind, and it's with you, and I'll walk it, as soon or as long as you want it to be. And so, that was Tuesday morning, and by the end of the day, Tuesday, I had, 17 home showings and 6 offers above asking. And I said, wow, God really, really answered my prayer very quickly, when that is not always the case. Sometimes you wait a long time because he'll test your patience. So,
yes.
So, yes.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I'm so excited and grateful and just blessed to be involved in a small way in your journey. And I love hearing about the kids and all the things you're going to be doing. And there's so much excitement coming up. So for anybody who wants to follow you and hear what's going on over there, what's the best place or best way to do that?
We have a website, and we're also on Facebook. I try to keep the Facebook a little more, current and up to date. The website is www.lovingeveryone.eternally.org.
Lovingeveryone.eternally.org.
You're right.
And I'll make sure I have a link too on the video, and we'll put it in there so that way you can follow. But the pictures are amazing, and it's just incredible. And
Yeah.
how can we most help you? Anybody who God's placing on their heart to help, how can we help?
I've been blessed over the years since 2016 that, more and more people approach me and ask something similar to that, and I think prayers are most important. And, I always tell people to please, pray about it, pray about us over there, and pray for you, and let him lead you in the way that you should, give or help. I never ask for specific, because I know it'll all work best if God's in the lead. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I'm super excited. I'm super excited to hear what's going on with you, and definitely we'll be praying for you. And hopefully when you come back, because you'll be there for 6 months, that's how long your visa is. And when you come back at the end of 6 months, God willing, maybe we can do an update, let everybody know what happened while you were
Yeah,
over.
that'd be great. That'd be great.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. And if there's anything else you need or want me to share with the group, when you get over there and you have more concrete needs list, just let us know and we'll see what we can do.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.